forgive me if I'm long-winded on this video, but what I want to say, and this is not a reflection on the year 2023, more it is what is to come in the next year and why I will be making hijrah, inshallah, by the grace and the mercy of Allah, from the West in the next year, and why the driving factor is more sinister than you think, and why the driving factor is around us in everyday life, and why the driving factor almost cannot be escaped unless you leave. Now, I've been doing my research. I've been reading many opinions, many different views from scholars, whether it be scholars that I follow on a normal basis, like the scholars who came before us, like Shehu Uthman Danfodio, like Ahmed Baba, like Al Sayuti, and the like thereof, and their opinion on whether or not hijrah is obligatory. Now, me, myself, I will say that you live and you grow, and you evolve. You have evolution. So, I'm speaking upon this not as a Muslim passport brother, as I like to frame myself, I like to call myself before, but as just a muhajirin, one who immigrates. There needs not to be a special name for what it is that I am preparing to undertake. With that being said, the number one reason that many disfranchised and dissatisfied men were voting with their feet was because of the modern woman. But with me, it's a variety of reasons, but that reason I would say is probably, let's just say, maybe 5th to 7th on the list. But what if I told you that that modern woman was in cahoots with the very people who control pretty much the financial sectors, the entertainment sectors, and I hate to say it now, but the nuclear family sectors? What if I told you that modern woman, the Western woman, be it Akeisha, who is like kind of like numero uno, be it a Karen, be it a Maria, or be a Ling Ling, who all decided to follow this group of people, which I have to come up with a nickname for. Let's just call them the Little Hats, okay? Let's just call them the Star of David Little Hats, okay? Due to the simple fact, just saying their name, you will be called anti-Semitic, or you will be called the like thereof. I had to really sit back and reflect. I had to really sit back and examine. I had to really sit back and read the eschatological texts that the ulama left behind, saying that these things will happen. The Star of David Little Hats, I know that name is long, but I just don't have another choice. I didn't know that the Star of David Little Hats perpetuated this gender war way before we even realized that it was them. The first example was the Kim Kardashian X tape. The owner of Vivid Entertainment, who was responsible for putting the tape out, who was responsible for making her famous, is a Star of David Little Hat. The owner of Pornhub is actually a rabbi. The owner of OnlyFans is a Ukrainian Star of David Little Hat. And we see how many women in the West are willing to sign up for that because of the high gross income that comes with it. The dating apps, I believe Hinge, that's owned by an Iranian Star of David Little Hat. So when you have these Star of David Little Hats basically pulling the modern woman on the string, and you yourself as a man really can't do anything about it but vote with your feet because of the millions upon millions of dollars that they have and the way that they're able to control media, then you're out of lose situation. A lose-lose situation, I should say. Now, I want to look at something to even see if it's even more sinister than I think. Okay. Let me see who the owner of another adult content okay. Yes. As I thought. So, even the people who give you what they call ghetto gaggers, okay? Even the people who give you ghetto gaggers, okay? Who give you music, the rap music you listen to, those CEOs that you see, be it I want to say be it Universal Records, be it Def Jam Records, be it any one of these record labels that promote be it Universal Music, be it any one of these things, okay? Whatever you can think of that put out the music that you know today, it is owned by the Star of David Little Hats. Who follows behind them? Keisha, Karen, the Westernized Maria, and also the Westernized Ling Ling. Because they do follow behind them, they take on their characteristics: being conniving, being mischievous, being deceptive, being narcissist, being basically opposite of what Allah wants us to be. The example that I can even use is the fact that all of the companies I named push promiscuity. You ask a modern woman about promiscuity, and she says everybody is allowed to have an O phase. It's okay, it's not a problem. Another example of this is the misinformation. The October 7th attack done by the cadres in Palestine was painted in a lot of misinformation. Israel had no proof of anything that it was claiming. The same thing with a modern woman. She'll have no proof of anything but still claim it to be the truth. Without having evidence, without having anything. She's just right. Because according to her, women run the world. Keep in mind that the religion of the Star of David Little Hats is a matriarchal religion. Meaning that you're only in it if your mother is. Okay? Hence why the modern woman and the modern feminists talk so bad about the patriarchy. Another thing that we have to keep in mind about the relationship between the Star of David Little Hats and modern women is that they're predatory money practices. Meaning, they'll do anything to get out a dollar. Even betray their own person that they said was their friend. And when you look at the modern woman, anything to get out a dollar means divorce, definitely paternity fraud, foodie calls, conditional intimacy based on, okay, if you buy me this, then maybe I'll give you some pity. Give you pity draws. Dangling what is inside of a man's human nature at them, like with someone, if there was a rabbit and they had a carrot on a string. Another thing about modern women that is similar to the Star of David Little Hats is that they see no problem in degeneracy. And we know this by the owners of these companies. If you look at most of the corn companies, they're owned by these people. I had to do my research. I did my research and I found out that they are indeed owned by these people. You must also keep something in mind, that we need to understand. If you go to the land which they claim is theirs, they have the highest number of SO offenders. They also even had a story about a man who raped a 3-year-old kid. Because the modern women don't value kids, their own children anymore, these kind of things are acceptable for them. I hate to say it, but they actually work hand in hand with these people. As crazy as it sounds, too, they were trying to social engineer and indoctrinate us early on. There was this show called Girlfriends, I believe. And one of the women on the show actually married a Star of David Little Hat and procreated. If it wasn't for a woman who had her father, who was the Star of David, who is the Star of David Little Hat, the late great Nipsey Hussle would still be here, as Lauren London's father is a Star of David Little Hat, and saw the message and saw the influence, and unfortunately had to put a halt to it. But I'm not going to get into that. Just know that the homies that you see in music, in the Nipsey Hussle homies in music that you see, just know that the table was set for them to eat after the demise of Hussle. This video was done on a whim. But when you look at also, and I'm going to say this last thing, and I'm going to turn this video off because I probably already said too much anyway. But when you look at the Little Hat, the Star of David Little Hat, and the amount of damage they have caused around the world, the Western woman is trying to do the same thing and sabotage men's chances at having nuclear families around the world by following these men around the world and trying to indoctrinate the women into the same ideology in which they are indoctrinated in and don't see anything wrong with. Luckily, some societies are catching on. I was just talking to a friend in Nigeria, and they're pushing back because now, like, they're making it hard for Nigerians to get visas for some reason because of a few bad apples. But I talked to someone who knows a diplomat, and they even said they're going to make it harder for African American women to get visas to Nigeria. As a matter of fact, a couple already got rejected for them because I think they're smelling the coffee and they're seeing what's happening. And when you look at the Star of David Little Hat's damage in Africa, Asia, it's crazy. The reason why we're having the problems in Congo and the Sudan have to do with them. There were 3 of them in the Congo that were just usurping all the natural resources. Similar to what a modern woman will do. Will usurp all a man's resources. So, like the Star of David Little Hats, when it comes to business, they don't even want a relationship with you. They just want to suck you dry. And this is what modern women do as well. So when I look at the comparison between the Star of David Little Hats and the modern woman, I don't see a difference in them. They're both this. They're one and the same entity. So that's why me myself, I have made it prohibited for me to even marry one, look at one, court one, and that includes the Muslim woman, which is a lot of them here, who have taken after the ways of the non-Muslim woman, and who does not know indirectly she's taking after the way of the people who we're at odds with, basically. And I can do another video about why I support who I support. I'll tell you this. One of my sheikhs, El Hajj Umar Tall, Rahmatullah alayhi, he led the prayer at Masjid Al-Aqsa a while back. Tell you that there's black Palestinians as well. But that's another video for another time. But just understand that this year is going to get worse. That's why I'm building my garrison back home in Africa and in Eurasia somewhere. But I will not talk too much. I can only show you better. And that's what I will plan to do, inshallah, while protecting myself from the evil eye. But I just wanted to make this video to tell you that the Star of David Little Hat and the modern woman is basically inseparable. They're one and the same thing. Hulu signing out. Njara.